Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to this now. Former U.S. President Donald Trump is being sued for fraud by New York State's Attorney General. The Attorney General has been conducting a civil investigation into the former U.S. President's business practices. The investigation has focused on whether the Trump organization misstated the values of its real estate properties to obtain favorable loans and tax benefits. Attorney General Letitia James has revealed that the investigation uncovered significant evidence that Trump and the company fraudulently valued many of its assets. The former president has denied any wrongdoing. He has described James' investigation as a politically motivated witch hunt, calling the allegations against him baseless. Let's talk more on this now with SABC News correspondent Kate Fisher, who joins us now from Washington, D.C. Kate, what more do we know about these numerous acts of fraud, as they're calling them?
Well, according to Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, there are more than 200 instances when she says Donald Trump, his organization and his children have committed fraud over a 10-year period that her department was investigating. So there is a lot to go through. This lawsuit is 220 pages long. She gave a detailed and long press conference detailing some of it. Let me give you some idea of the things she's talking about. She's saying that Donald Trump and his organization inflated the value of his assets in order to obtain better deals on loans so that he could get a cheaper loan and also to pay lower tax. So things like, she says, in one instance that Mar-a-Lago, his property in Florida, was valued by his organization at more than $700 million. In fact, Letitia James says it should have been valued at just $75 million. So essentially, Trump, his children and the organization suggesting that he was worth billions of dollars in total more than he was saying he was. Letitia James says that cheated the state out of tax dollars that he could have given them, and also meant that he was able to get lucrative loan deals to buy more property and expand his business further, something that ordinary Americans, she said, would not have been able to do.
And what are the implications of all of this?
Well, there are several, and they are big and damaging for President Trump. This is a civil case, so he's not facing criminal charges from this, although Letitia James has said that she has referred criminal charges to the IRS, the tax authorities here in the US, as well as the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, who will look at federal charges. But, however, these civil charges still hold several very damaging prospects for Donald Trump. A judge will now decide whether to pursue them or not. A court will, decide whether to pursue them or not. But if they agree with Letitia James, if a court takes this up and agrees with her, Letitia James is seeking $250 million to be returned from the ill-gotten gains she alleges that the Trump organization made from this fraud. She's also seeking to bar Donald Trump or any of his three children who are named as defendants on this from holding offices or directorships in businesses in New York for the next 5 years. And she's also pushing for the Trump organization to have their corporation certificate barred, which means that they would essentially have to cease operations in New York State for 5 years. So these are big issues for Donald Trump. If her suit was successful, he would face his reputation, damage to his reputation, damage to his finances. And of course, Donald Trump has always talked about being a great businessman, and this is the last kind of image that he would want to be portraying to other people.
He says it's a witch hunt, it's politically motivated. What else has he said?
Well, we haven't heard from the man himself. His lawyer has released a statement saying that this is absolutely, none of this is true and absolutely no wrongdoing took place. But he has in the past, as you say, described Letitia James, who's a Democrat, as conducting a witch hunt, a politically motivated witch hunt into him. And certainly the very fact that she is a Democrat could suggest that there is some political motivation in this. She has denied that. She was asked about that at the press conference and said that she is merely looking at the facts, and the facts are that he and his organisation had broken the law in her opinion. So it's certainly the Trump organisation, appears to be continuing to deny any of this. He has, when Donald Trump was interviewed under oath, he chose to plead the Fifth Amendment, which means that he chose his right to remain silent and didn't respond to any of the accusations put to him. If this now does go to court, we'll see if there will be further reaction from Donald Trump and his family.
Does it look like, very briefly as we wrap up, does it look like the walls are closing in on him? I mean, you think about the developments in the public domain that we've seen, that raid at Mar-a-Lago and various other developments around him. Now this, does it look like the walls are closing in?
There are certainly numerous now legal investigations into his political actions, his financial actions. So there does certainly feel like this is a significant step forward, given the fact that this was clearly a very detailed investigation. They looked at 10 years worth of his business dealings. As I say, the lawsuit is 220 pages long, and there is a lot of detail, and some of it, like things like he allegedly lied about the square footage of apartment buildings. Well, that can be factually corroborated because you can measure those apartment buildings. So certainly it does feel as though this could be damaging, and it also will be damaging to his business. And although he doesn't like criticism of his time as president, he's always called himself a businessman. So any reputational and financial damage to his business, I think, is going to hurt him personally even more.
All right, Kate, thank you so much for that. That was Kate Fisher joining us live from Washington, D.C.